So when we think about the future of storytelling and using data technology and what the client's expectations are, or what the industry's expectations are of how storytelling evolves and how it becomes more relevant to brand goals. When we look at it from an Omnicom and from my perspective at PhD, we really start with Omni. I mean, Omni is our end-to-end solution that really helps us define and get up front with our clients to understand what they're thinking about, what's most important, what are the KPIs that they're actually taking a look at. Is it brand? Is it really truly based on performance? And quite frankly, we've been pushing very hard with our clients at PhD that brand and performance need to go hand in hand and shouldn't be looked at separately, but we need to look at media holistically, and it needs to perform at every single level. I do think it's really important that we stop talking about demographics. Andy, I know I've had this conversation with you before in the 5 years that I've been with the Omnicom Media Group. But quite frankly, it is so far gone that we really need to take a look at audiences and how those audiences and having contextual relevance come together to really help things move forward. Some examples of that would be, Audi recently this past year took a look at their new EV vehicle that was a very high-end, beautiful vehicle. I'm sure you've seen it. It's absolutely spectacular. But they partnered with the Met Gala for two reasons. Their entire focus was on sustainability, technology, and the Met Gala was doing the same thing. So we know that the Met Gala, i.e. Condé Nast, has a very exclusive high-end audience. That is the same audience that Audi is looking for. So you start taking a look within Omni, start putting those audiences together, start building out how do we then surround the Met Gala to make sure that we re-aggregate all that scale that's needed by using other social platforms to make sure that we're getting that message. The actual program went beyond anything that Audi could have expected. They were so pleased with it. They really loved everything that it did for the brand. And again, it was having the context and the content match so beautifully to match up with what Audi's goals were, not only from a brand perspective, but from a sales perspective. And that's the holy grail that I think we're all looking at. Brand is so important, but you also need that CMO still needs to drive the sales goals. So I'd say those are the things that we're consistently looking at. Diageo was also in the Met Gala, also had tremendous owning that whole space. It was beautiful. It worked. And again, the results were substantial. They really exceeded all their goals and expectations. And that's what I think when we really start to use technology and not just broadly plan against demographics. There's no one sitting in a marketing department at any single major client that is sitting there saying, we're going to target adults 18 to 49 when they're coming up with a new campaign or launching a new product. And I think as we really move forward as an industry, we should stop worrying about what was in the past and really think about the future. What will keep that brand love? And I think we've learned a lot during the pandemic about being true and authentic and making sure that you understand what your goals are as a marketer, what you believe in, what you stand for, and that you don't just do it just once. I mean, a perfect example, as we went through Black Lives Matter, we were very clear with our clients that we cannot no longer just stand by and do, Black History Month and think as a marketer, as an agency representing our clients, that we've done our job to actually instill and really reach out to that part of our culture and think that we've done our job. The generations right now, and because of what we've gone through, specifically the younger generations, truly see that as just really bad marketing, and they find it to be completely inauthentic. And actually, there's a negative effect when you do things like that. So we've really have spent a lot of time at PhDs. We've thought about the way we've organized around content and culture and audiences, really defining that. The further upstream we get with our clients and understand what their goals and objectives are, then using data and technology, whether it's using what we use within Omni, whether it's coming up with another third party like the Trade Desk or a Mobi that we work with to try to consistently level up what our clients are doing, what they're thinking about, and to drive better results and continue to drive sales and brand loyalty, because that is going to be where we all need to move for the future. A lot was lost during the pandemic when nobody knew where they were going. Right now, it is truly about making a massive leap forward and not being afraid to take bold steps, because you cannot now, in today's world, just think about what you did last year. I'd even suggest that you can't assume that what you did 6 months ago is going to work 6 months later. It's a continual rejiggering of what you're currently thinking about for your marketing goals. And that's what we've been doing at PhD, and that's what we've been doing at the broader Omnicom.
Catherine, you know quite a lot about the television industry. What is their opportunity? What's their challenge in terms of being relevant and sort of partnering, with you in these kinds of, efforts?
Yeah, listen, I think that the one silver lining, if you will, for the media networks at large has been CTV. Each one of them have launched their own platform or have bought one. And it has given this massive opportunity for them to redefine what is great content. I mean, listen, nobody makes better or greater content than those companies that we're talking about, but their distribution of how they're currently out there with linear TV, like the genie's out of the bottle. No one's going back to watch a great entertainment program with 20 to 22 minutes worth of commercials in an hour. When you think about what we're doing on the AVOD side, forgetting about Netflix or Disney Plus, but on the other places where you can advertise, when you have only 3 to 6 minutes of commercials, that makes it a lot more palatable. But I'd say the additive piece there is going back to what we started with, which is making sure that the commercials, the content of that beautiful, let's just like Yellowstone, right? Everyone's talking about Yellowstone right now. If you could figure out if Diageo has creative that matches up, which they do across many of their brands, make it relevant to that content. And that audience, they know what they're doing. That media company knows that's the reason why they've launched that program, because they feel that that audience is there for them and they build on that way. So the more entertainment can act a little bit more like sports, where when you're in an NFL game, you from the beginning to the end, every single iteration of creative that happens, I'd say 90% of it feels like it's part of the game itself. And that's because there's commentators in the creative, the talents in the creative, and they have managed to get that sports feeling of love and excitement around the game. And that's what we have to do better as an industry on the entertainment front. And so the connected TV and what they're doing in the launching of those programs and what I think the future of entertainment looks like, they really have to not fall back on what they know. They actually need to just break free of what that linear experience was, focus on the consumer, make the experience really amazing for them, come up with varying formats. To me, commerce is the great frontier that, again, COVID really spurned. I mean, prior to COVID, we thought commerce as a channel and as a true practice was 3 to 5 years out. And then within minutes, if you didn't have a commerce practice, you had one. And so how do we think about commerce in this new world of CTV? And I do think that this is their tremendous opportunity to really harness and rethink what entertainment is. And again, they have such great content. It is that the distribution and the way it's currently presented to the consumer, it's why the ratings continue to go down on linear. So hopefully they'll learn from the mistakes and continue to rethink what the future could look like.